So, this is Abby Adler, Executive Assistant at NYSCA. Before we formally begin today's meeting, I ask for everyone joining us to please mute their phones or video audio unless they are speaking. We do recognize that with people joining us from all over the state, we may experience some issues with connectivity. So please reach me directly by text with any tech issues. I'm going to begin by taking a roll call of council members to confirm if we have a quorum. When I state your name, if you would be so kind as to say present. Monica Engel.
Present.
Lawrence Cook.
Present.
Scott Eberly.
Present.
Carolee Fink.
Sorry, present.
Joan Hornig.
Present.
Eric Latsky.
Present.
James Lemons.
Present.
Andrea Louie.
Present.
Laudalina Martinez.
Present.
David Allen Miller.
Present.
Nazi Moynihan.
Present.
Catherine Nichols.
Present.
Adriana Trigiani.
Present.
If there are any other council members that are present and did not hear their names called, please take this time to unmute and let me know. Excellent. We now have a quorum present, and Catherine, we may proceed whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Abby. Good afternoon and welcome to the New York State Council on the Arts, March 28th, 2022, Joint Committee and Council meeting. I'm Catherine Nichols, the chair of the New York State Council on the Arts. Thank you to our council members for joining us today. To remind all in attendance, this is a public meeting that is being recorded. As authorized by Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Legislature on September 2nd, 2021, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference and video participation. A recording and transcript of the meeting will be made available on the NYSCA website. Since our last council meeting in November, New York's arts and culture venues continued upon their journeys of reopening. For much of the fall, we were able to fully appreciate the arts and culture live and in person, and what a joy it was. We also experienced some setbacks between December and February when the Omicron variant saw case numbers once again on the rise, with many organizations forced to delay or cancel programming. Some organizations had to shut down for several weeks in order to manage significant staffing shortages and challenges. But once again, New Yorkers were prepared and followed recommendations set forth by the governor and the Department of Health. So these measures were temporary, and we are moving into spring with an increase in reopenings and a return to in-person programming. We remain vigilant, hopeful, and grateful to be able to experience the arts in person. At today's meeting, we will review and vote on fiscal year 2022 panelist roster recommendations and round 4 capital grant recommendations, our final funding for fiscal year 2022. Council will also review the fiscal year 2023 ongoing multi-year grants. The meeting materials were sent to Council on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. The application portal for round 4 capital opportunity opened November 22nd, 2021 and closed January 14th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Between February 15th and March 1st, the capital staff conducted 4 peer review panels over 7 days, welcoming 22 panelists. Several members of our council were fortunate to observe a number of panel sessions, and on behalf of the NYSCA Council and staff, we wish to acknowledge and thank our peer panelists for their time, their professionalism, and their commitment to this most important part of our grant-making process. This year, NYSCA launched new guidelines and program categories, and our peer review panelists came to the sessions prepared with thoughtful comments, insights, and their shared experiences to review and make recommendations that come before council today. Thank you also to NYSCA's Deputy Director of Programs, Megan White, Director of Operations and General Counsel, Abigail Young, our program and operations teams for their leadership in conducting our panels. Your stewardship of this process is what gives us confidence in our role as council in reviewing your recommendations today. A reminder that the fiscal year 2022 opportunities have been constructed to achieve the following: significantly streamline the application process to reduce burden for applying, especially for new applicants and smaller organizations; to provide immediate support for live performance, an area of our sector that had had its doors shuttered since March 2020 with significant unemployed workforce; expand eligibility and access to funding for underrepresented communities, smaller organizations, and a broader range of artistic practices; and to provide flexible funding to be responsive to the fluidity of our times. NYSCA is currently awaiting the release of the enacted fiscal year 2023 state budget in early April. Per the executive budget released in January, we are immensely grateful to Governor Hochul for her preservation of NYSCA's budget at level funding to fiscal year 2022, demonstrating her unyielding support for the arts during these times and her understanding of the immense impact our field has on the health and vitality of our state. We look forward to receiving and communicating the final budget in the coming days. Spring has brought much to be grateful for in New York, yet it is not lost on us, NYSCA staff, council, and all New Yorkers that across our globe, conflict is raging in multiple regions. Following the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we watched in horror as the Donetsk Regional Drama Theater in Mariupol was destroyed by Russian bombs. It had been a safe haven for civilians, many of whom perished in this attack. Italy's culture minister, Dario Franceschini, responded to this tragedy with a message of hope and resilience in support of the Ukrainian people. He said, "The Italian cabinet has approved the proposal for Italy to rebuild this theater. Theaters of all countries belong to all of humanity." If I could ask us all to contemplate that powerful message that the arts unite us and are for all of us. We think of those around the world who are suffering and denied their freedoms. Peace can never come soon enough. I am now pleased to welcome NYSCA's Executive Director, Mara Manis, who will share important status updates with us. Mara, thank you as always. Your stewardship of NYSCA, together with the dedication of our entire staff, has led the agency to achieve record results and the highest level of service to our field this year. We thank you and we welcome you. Mara.
Thank you, Catherine, so much. It's wonderful to be here with you guys today and to see all of your faces. We are certainly at the finish line of this extraordinary funding year, and I'd like to take this moment to thank all of our incredible staff and to echo what Catherine said, which is under the leadership of our deputy directors, both Abigail Young and Megan White, and our phenomenal staff, many of whom are here today. This year marks the most significant shift in our grant making, and we would not be here without their unparalleled dedication and efforts to accomplishing all that we have this past year. On February 16th, I delivered testimony to the joint Senate and Finance budget hearings. There was a lot of positive engagement and support for our field during the Q&A portion. And we look forward to the impending release of the enacted 2023 budget, which is expected to be released on April 1st, Friday. A quick update about our FY22 grant making. So excluding capital, which is before you today, NYSCA has awarded over 3,200 grants totaling $82 million, and 93% of our FY22 grants have already been paid as of today. So I think the staff deserve the giant round of applause for that. Our Restart New York live performance grants continue across all 10 regions of our state, and more than 600 events have already taken place, and approximately 40 more are forthcoming. And some of those include the Lucky Star at the Directors Company in Manhattan that runs from April 26th to June 12th, as well as I Am King, which will be at the Patchogue Village Center for the Performing Arts on April 9th. And again, all of our upcoming, most of our upcoming events around the state are on our website, so you can find those there. With consideration to the release of the enacted budget this week, NYSCA is planning to launch our next set of guidelines this spring, and they will continue to build upon the grant-making opportunities that we've developed for FY22. We will also continue to expand our robust outreach initiatives, including live webinars for each opportunity and virtual office hours for the field. This year, those together reached approximately 5,700 viewers and participants, and we look forward to sharing the guidelines with all of you very soon. The new NEA-BA report was released a couple of weeks ago, and I want to share a couple of top-line items from that report, and happy to send you all the full document along with our state profile. The NEA and BEA, so that came out, it tracks the annual economic impact of arts and cultural production from 35 industries, which include both commercial and nonprofit. And the top line New York State data hasn't changed very much. Cultural production still accounts for $126 billion and 7.3% of our economy. And that's compared to $123 billion and 7% in the last report. Cultural production contributed for approximately 435,000 jobs. That's down from 500,000 jobs in the last report. The salient points for the arts field are that between 2019 and 20, that the US arts economy shrank at nearly twice the rate of the economy as a whole. Arts and cultural production fell by 6.4% compared with 3.4% decline in our overall economy. The value added by the performing arts presenters, which includes festivals, fell by nearly 73%. And performing arts presenters and performing arts companies joined oil drilling and exploration, as well as air transportation, as the steepest declining areas of the US economy. As we all pause to take that in, but I think none of this is a huge surprise at this point. I want to share some updates to staffing. I want to acknowledge first that Sana Coulter, who recently completed her service. Sana, where are you? Can you wave if you're on our screen? So Sana recently completed her service as NYSCA and New York State's first ever AmeriCorps Vista member with a focus on research projects. Sana has worked in many capacities at NYSCA, starting as an intern in 2018 and a temp in 2019. As our Vista, Sana has been a vital resource for our agency, and I'm thrilled to share that she will be continuing her service and work with us as an executive in the Executive and Communications Office as a temp. So thank you so much, Sana, for your work to date, and we really look forward to continuing to work with you. One moment of applause for Sana. Thank you, Sana. I'm also thrilled to introduce NYSCA's new Capital Projects Director, Katie Steger, a familiar face to some of you. Katie will oversee the current capital projects and the development of the implementation of the FY23 round pending the enacted budget. Katie brings with her 15 years of experience in program development and management, grant making, and research spanning multiple disciplines. Katie has also worked with NYSCA in varying capacities for the last few years, first overseeing the capital projects budget and then as interim director of music and folk arts program. We are thrilled to have her join us in this formal capacity, and we know that she will continue to be an excellent member of the NYSCA team. So Katie, a formal welcome to you. On behalf of everyone here. Next up, Leah Capotorto, NYSCA's interim communications manager, will be with our agency through June 3rd, after which she will pursue her master's in theater practice at the University College in Dublin. Leah first joined NYSCA in October 2020 and has played an instrumental role in the overhaul and expansion of our communications portfolio. Leah has given so much to us over the last 18 months, and it's really been a pleasure to work with her and you. And Leah, on behalf of all of us, we wish you immense success in the next step of your journey. And finally, with profound gratitude, we recognize Tracy Hamilton, who will retire from NYSCA effective April 15th. Tracy, who has diligently served as our Director of Compliance, first joined New York State Service in 1989 and has been a member of the NYSCA team since 1994. Throughout her 33 years of service, Tracy has been a phenomenal colleague and has played an essential role in the strengthening of NYSCA's mission and reach. Please join me in a round of applause to celebrate Tracy and her exciting next chapter. And we can't wait to see what will take flight for you next. Thank you so much, Tracy, and look forward to celebrating you. Upcoming events. So as Catherine mentioned, the arts are reopening in so many ways, and I think we're all so grateful and excited by that. And summer has a lot in store for us, both artists and audience members. We will continue to share exciting events with you. And as you know, as I mentioned, those events will be posted on the NYSCA events calendar, so you could find events in your area. One such opportunity to get back out and appreciate all the state has to offer is the upcoming Trailblaze Festival, which was scheduled to take place 2 years ago. This summer festival will celebrate the completion of the Empire State Trail, obviously a momentous event for New York State. And we're so fortunate to have David Allen Miller with us today from the Albany Symphony Orchestra, who will share a couple of minutes about Trailblaze. And then Catherine and I will let you know, we are definitely planning to be up there. It's going to span many cities. And I'm so looking forward to this wonderful opportunity and event for the state. So David, over to you for a moment of sharing. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. It's really nice to see you. I'll just take a moment, and that's very sweet of you, Mara, to let me pitch this wonderful event. We've been doing a lot of work in the whole area of artistic cultural tourism. We did a big festival around the bicentennial of the Erie Canal in 2017, the water music. We took the orchestra down the canal on barges and played from Albany to Buffalo. And then a couple of years, just before the pandemic, we did a whole piece about social justice movements in New York State around the 19th Amendment and around the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. And it occurred to us that we've got this unbelievable old new resource, the Empire State Trail, which, as you know, is made up of a bunch of smaller, various different trail systems within the state. But at a certain point, $200 million was put toward completing a 750-mile, essentially a corridor from Staten Island to the Canadian border and intersecting Albany to Buffalo. So an incredible central trail system that all smaller, more local trail systems can feed into. And we were struck as ever that there didn't seem to really be a state plan for rolling out the Empire State Trail, which technically was completed, I guess, I don't know if it was last December. I think, years have sort of blended two years ago, December, but they're always putting the finishing touches on it. And I don't know if I assume some of you have been out on it. It's just, parts of it are just glorious and gorgeous, and you can really just go all the way across the state if you choose to. So we decided to create a whole regional festival here, kind of in the Hudson Valley, reaching out a little bit into Western New York, and with great support from NYSCA and from Market New York. We're putting on essentially 7 events over 4 weekends, starting the first weekend of June, this coming spring. As Mara said, we've been planning and postponing it for 2 years, but we're finally bringing it to fruition. We're playing major orchestra concerts in 7 communities over 4 weekends. We start in Troy the weekend of June 4th and 5th with it's our big annual American Music Festival, but it's focused on the trail and the sort of notion of trails as connecting us, and of the Empire State Trail as celebrating the natural world of New York State, the connections between communities, access, health. And so the idea is that over these 4 weekends between June 4th and July 4th, in these 7 communities, we're doing sort of mid-sized festivals: Kingston, Hudson, Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Schuylerville, Amsterdam. So kind of covering the area around the capital region. And each event will culminate in a big orchestra concert, each one having its own unique commissioned work by a young emerging usually New York-based composer, celebrating some aspect of the trail and that community. But throughout the day preceding it, just all sorts of different kinds of events, bike rides, walks, yoga on the trail, dance on the trail. We're going to be down at Olana and do a kind of outdoor chamber concert at Olana. All sorts of health and wellness events in Albany, where the trail goes right through kind of the downtown corridor, really trying to bring communities out onto the trail. Music on the trail, drumming events on the trail. So it's just going to be a whole celebration of the connectivity of our communities in New York State, and also at the same time celebrating the uniqueness of these 7 communities. And we've had wonderful support from the different cities in terms of the mayors and the community resource people really helping us develop a lot of additional programming.
Great, David. Thank you so much, and so exciting. And some of those are going to be not just on the trail, but have some kind of water interface as well. Correct?
Yes, as you know, much of the trail, not all, but certainly the east-west spoke goes all along the Erie Canal and the Mohawk, and a lot of the north-south goes along the Hudson. So there'll be lots of water-related events and concerts on the water as well in most of those communities, actually.
Great, thank you, and we'll send out full information on that when it's available. Do you have all the details on your website yet?
Well, I think they're about to go up. We have a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, we're doing like a historic kayaking trip in Schenectady, just all sorts of crazy, wonderful things. So it will all be on the website shortly, if it isn't yet there.
Okay, great, fantastic. Thank you. I'm very excited. Having attended I think the Brockport concert right outside of Rochester for the Water Music Series, and seeing just how many people came out, all ages, and people who probably wouldn't have ever walked into a concert hall. It was just so heartening and exciting, and it's also what outdoor arts festivals really do accomplish in so many ways. And everyone.
And what is beautiful, because of the largesse of NYSCA and of Market New York, is that all of these events, with the exception of some of the Troy events, because that's kind of its own little thing, but all of these events, the orchestra concerts, the chamber events, everything is free. It's just a gift from New York State to the people of New York State. So it's a wonderful thing.
Great, super great. Thank you. Thank you. Again, so that's June 4th to July 3rd, correct? Right. Yep. Okay. Seven stops, 4 weekends. Okay. Back to you soon as we have all the detail on that. Great. And I think before, Abby, you have a quick housekeeping item to share before you move over back to Catherine for the panelist roster recommendations.
No housekeeping to share at this point.
Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Catherine, back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara, and thank you, David. We are very excited. This is just, as you noted, a wonderful opportunity for all of New Yorkers to get out and enjoy arts and the beautiful nature of our state together. Our first agenda item is to review and vote on additional fiscal year 2022 panelist roster recommendations. I would like to thank council members who submitted panelist nominations. We appreciate this, and we always encourage your input. Megan White, NYSCA's Deputy Director of Programs, will now discuss round 4 panel process and the panelist roster recommendations for capital projects. Megan.
Thank you, Catherine. NYSCA strongly believes in maintaining the public voice in our grant-making process. And as such, peer review panels are a cornerstone of NYSCA's mission in grant-making. As reviewed at previous council meetings, the executive leadership and program staff streamlined our panel process to address our current fiscal reality as well as safety challenges presented by COVID-19. Today, you are being asked to ratify one roster for capital projects. All panel members serve single-year terms and may be reappointed for a term of up to 3 years. To clarify, as a point of procedure today, the council is reviewing and ratifying the specific roster of panelists that have reviewed the capital grants this winter and provided the scores in your packet. We will be presenting the roster of panelists for the FY23 funding opportunities later this year. As a reminder, advisory panelists are required to act with impartiality with respect to the evaluation and rating of applications and to protect panel deliberations from any potential conflict of interest or the appearance of such a conflict. Prior to serving, panelists are required to acknowledge any affiliations with organizations making application to the council and must comply with New York State ethics laws. Please take a moment to review these nominations. The vote will be held later towards the end of today's meeting.
Okay. I think we'll move forward. Thank you, Megan. Our next agenda item is to review the fiscal year 2023 ongoing multi-year grants. And back to you, Megan, for this presentation.
Thanks again, Catherine. Multi-year support is awarded when the panel, staff, and council agree that a similar level of service or activity will be sustained by the applicant organization over successive years. Multi-year grants represent the council's agreement to offer successive years of support without requiring a full application and review of the grantee in the succeeding years. All FY 2023 multi-year awards are being recommended at the same level of funding as granted in FY 2022. Annually, multi-year grantees are required to electronically sign off on the upcoming contract period in Grants Gateway, notify council staff of programming activities or any major institutional changes, submit all interim and final reports as required by their grant contract, and renew and maintain pre-qualification in the Grants Gateway. Units of local government and Indian tribes are exempt from the pre-qualification requirement. NYSCA funding is subject to the state's annual budget process. Consequently, there's no assurance that grant amounts will remain the same over the entire multi-year term. Please note, these grants have already been reviewed and recommended for funding by council in their first year of application. Therefore, these grants are presented to council for review, not approval. Council received the full list of multi-year recommendations for review on March 22nd, 2022.
Thank you, Megan. Just any questions or comments from council at this time? Okay. At this time, NYSCA has determined that council has the basis to enter into executive session to review NYSCA fiscal year 2022 capital project grant recommendations. Section 105, 1F of the Open Meetings Law permits a public body to enter into executive session to discuss the financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation. Council members, please make sure your video is on. We will return to public meeting at the conclusion of presentations by NYSCA staff at approximately 2:15 p.m. Please raise your hand now to approve entry into executive session, and I will ask Abby to confirm the hands.
In order to, just a reminder, in order to count your vote, we need to see your face. Thank you so much.
Hi, Catherine. This is Abby confirming that the motion is approved. This is Abby. I am confirming that the recording of the public portion of this meeting has resumed and that you may proceed.
Thank you, Abby. Welcome back to the public portion of the council meeting for the New York State Council on the Arts. I'm Catherine Nichols, Chair of the New York State Council on the Arts. Thank you all for joining us today. To remind all in attendance, this is a public meeting that is being recorded. At this time, I would like to ask council for a joint vote to approve the fiscal year 2022 panelist roster recommendations and the round 4 capital project grant recommendations. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Scott. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. I would now like to ask Deputy Director of Programs, Megan White, if there are any recusals to report. Those with a conflict will be deemed recused on their vote for the applicable application.
Thank you, Catherine. I have the following conflicts to report for the record. Monica Angle, Birchfield Penny Art Center. Aaron Flagg, the Juilliard School. James Lemons, Lake Placid Association of Music, Drama, and Art. Laudalina Martinez, Rensselaer County Historical Society Incorporated. And finally, Nazi Moynihan, Carnegie Hall Corporation.
Thank you, Megan. Are there any other recusals from council to report? Let's proceed to the vote. Council members, please make sure your cameras are on and you are unmuted. All those in favor of approving the fiscal year 2022 panelist roster recommendations and fiscal year 2022 capital grant project recommendations, please raise your hand and say aye. And I will ask Abby to confirm the hands. Aye.
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 Hi, Catherine, confirming I have counted 13 ayes.
Thank you, Abby. Any opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The motion carries. Today, NYSCA has taken another important step forward in aiding the recovery of our not-for-profit arts and culture sector. These grants will no doubt make an incredible difference to the recipients as they reopen in communities all across New York State. I would like to thank NYSCA staff, council, and panelists today. In doing your civic duty, we have approved the final $20 million in vital fiscal year 2022 funding in support for New York State's arts and culture sector. We are deeply grateful to the artists and to arts and culture organizations who produce and share their craft in New York. And we look forward to experiencing the work of our grantees in the weeks and months to come. Through you, we gain insight, hope, inspiration, perspective, and compassion. I wish everyone good health and enjoyment of the arts. This concludes the council meeting for today, and I will now ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Scott. And second, Joan?
Second.
Thank you. The meeting of the NYSCA Council is now concerned. Good health to everyone, and we'll be in touch soon with dates for the rest of our season. Thank you.